was thinking about the topic of staying young and how we are always chasing this sense of the fountain of youth, right? We want to figure out how to stay young forever. And the truth is, that's not going to happen. We're going to get old and die. Unless we die young, which is a possibility, but being optimistic, I would like to say that that's not what I'm planning for. And yet, there are things we can do to lessen the pain of growing old, to eliminate some of the problems that plague the experience as we go through life and make our way onward. But ironically, the key to being youthful is often to let go of a lot of things that we conventionally think we should be doing, like trying to leave a legacy. As you get older, it's natural to start thinking about how you can make sure that what you're doing today matters for those who will be there after you pass away. And yet, at the core of what makes a child's experience different from a grown-up experience is that the child probably doesn't worry very much at all about what the long-term consequences of their actions will be. They're certainly not worried about a legacy. They're not going to be sucked in by an insurance person that's telling them that they need to sign up for life insurance for an extra $50 a month or something so that they can leave something for the wife and kids if they die. Now, maybe in your middle age years, that's a lot easier to sell. But when you're a child, you just want to go out and ride your bike. You don't care about life insurance. You're not worried about death. As far as you're concerned, when you're a small child or perhaps even a teenager, you're going to live forever. And that's not a prudent way to look at life, because we are going to pass on eventually. Our lives don't go on forever, at least not in the sense of the mortal lives that we currently have as we know them. Now, maybe we do come back in some living form. That's inevitable, because matter just changes from one form into another. It doesn't cease to exist. So to say that life just ends because our consciousness ends, that's also a morbid way to look at life when you consider how much more there is to the truth of existence. But that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about how we see our everyday life and how what lens we look at our everyday experiences through. If you look at your day-to-day experiences through the lens of saying, I want to really have a wonderful time today, I want to enjoy my life. Look at that sunrise, isn't it amazing? I'm going to go watch it. Or, I love the taste of this coffee I'm having. That's pretty simple. That's not anything about getting a legacy. It's just enjoying the moment that you're in. And you say, well, what about the legacy? And the truth is, you are going to probably build up a pretty decent legacy if you just love your life, you enjoy your life, you do things that bring positive energy into your daily experience. Isn't that the foundational element of what makes youth what it is? If you exclude the nuts and bolts of youth being just how long you've been on the earth relative to others, and you consider youth to be something spiritual, if you will, then there's hardly anything out there that's more youthful than just enjoying your life in the moment. A child doesn't go out and say, I'm going to ride my bike today because it's going to help me build up my stamina so that I'm more in shape, so that I will age more gracefully. No, they don't say things like that. They just know it's fun. They want to go do it. But if you do go out there and you're active and you're doing things that you enjoy, is that likely to prolong your life in a positive way? I would say so. But you're going to have a youthful attitude to go along with it. And there's people who are always chasing that fountain of youth. If they're wealthy enough to do it, maybe they're looking for ways to get some kind of plastic surgery. They're trying to figure out how to find that new special tonic, that thing that's going to make their skin smooth or keep their mind sharp, or whatever it might be. Is that never-ending desire to find something that will stave off the inevitable. And sometimes you'll see people that have done this and they become really grotesque because they've done something to try to Botox away the wrinkles, but you can still tell that what they are trying to be is a lie. They aren't young anymore. They've just done this cosmetic thing to make themselves superficially look like what they're not. And that's not really anything even remotely like youth. That's just grotesque. It's not appealing. You can tell. It sets you ill at ease because you know it's a lie. It's fake. And there's nothing appealing about people who self-deceive. But the worst thing about it is that if you deceive yourself easily, if you're always looking for something that's going to be that magic carpet ride to a better life than what is possible, then you get taken in by things. And there's a lot of people who are older. I'm not saying they're really old, but they're older. And they always get suckered into the same sort of scams. Things that promise health, things that promise to be that magic elixir of life, and you are going to pay $50 a month for this special drug or supplement or something, and it's going to just take years off your appearance or your how you feel or whatever it might be. You know, they're always looking for that something, and there's always somebody there to sell it to them. And then you see people that got totally scammed, like some guy who is, you know, around retirement age, and I was reading an article about how he just gave $350,000, his whole life savings, to some crypto related entity that ultimately just robbed him of it because they were a scam. And you would think that a guy who lived his whole life, I mean, he managed to be shrewd enough to save a few $100,000 and have it there in the bank. And yet this guy is a sucker to the point where he can't see an obvious scam. He just gives his money to some crooks and they take it, and that's the end of his savings. People get suckered into things because there's a really, really powerful ability that we have to self-deceive. And it's important to know that and to really not try to prove anything. Because if you're always trying to prove something in life, then you're going to struggle with the issue of confirmation bias. You're going to look for things that substantiate what you're trying to prove. And you're going to want to prove what you're looking for so strongly that you're going to ignore anything that might point to the truth being something other than what you want it to be. You will dismiss the actual truth so that you can believe a narrative. And if you try less, if you worry less, if you're more present in the moment, then you're just less susceptible to these things, because you're not desperate to live forever. You're not desperate to create a legacy. You're not terrified of this idea of time passing you by and you not getting enough done. You don't have these demons that you're always fighting and worrying about. You're not trying to prove to yourself that you're younger than you are, or healthier than you are, or that life will go on longer than it really will, or that you can live on through the accrual of wealth after you go to the grave. You're not trying to prove any of that stuff. And then you just do things that seem like good decisions in the moment. You look for positive experiences, things that bring, good fruit into your life. And if you always do things that are positive in your life, you surround yourself with people who are the right kind of people, then why would you fall prey to problems and lies and manipulation? You really have no reason to be particularly drawn into anything. You just do your thing. And sure, there's going to be people always trying to sell something. They're always going to be looking for a way to get you suckered into something. But if you're not desperate, then you're not going to be drawn in as easy. And I think people that are relaxed and not worried about stuff are usually about the best kind of people to be around, regardless of what age. I've known a lot of people who are older in their lives and they're not worried about things, and they do make the best of each day. It just, things kind of just are what they are, Those are the people that you enjoy spending time with. And when you're in the company of good people and you're doing things you love, does it really matter so much what happens? Does it matter? You don't even need to worry so much about leaving behind a legacy, because your life is a good experience in and of itself. There's this idea that legacy is somehow important, but the truth is we have nothing to prove. We're going to live, we're going to die. You go out into nature and you see trees blooming and you see animals running around and all these things. The sun rises and sets, and what does it do to prove its value? Anything? No, not really. It just is what it is. And that is its legacy. So maybe that's the greatest truth you could ever discover, that you are enough exactly as you are, without any need for changes or additions or proving things. Till next time, thank you for watching.